on Radio 44.
We've heard of many companies that come in and are experts when it comes to cars, but there can only be one company that comes to mind when you think of the top company out there, and that is Auto Express. And today on the Superbrands Leadership Legends, episode 2, we have the managing director of Auto Express, Mr. Sandeep Shah. We're going to be getting into a conversation where we'll be talking about business and the key to staying relevant in an industry like this. Don't go anywhere, keep it right here on Radio 44. It is episode 2 of the Leadership Legends with Superbrands and Radio 44. And right now we do have the MD of Auto Express, Mr. Sandeep Shah. Good morning to you, sir.
Morning, Jets. Pleasure to be here this morning.
Yes, go on.
And welcome to your listeners and viewers.
Perfect. You know, we see Auto Express everywhere. I think anyone who's lived in Kenya for decades knows Auto Express. It's a brand name that everyone will remember and definitely has stood the test of time. So let's go straight into it. History spanning over 6 decades. That's not easy for a company to achieve. Can you share more details about the journey of how, you know, the company was formed, how it transformed into what it is in East Africa today?
Right, so Auto Express started its journey in 1958 in the wonderful town of Kisumu. Founder was my grandfather, and basically started as Nyanza Petroleum Dealers as a petroleum distribution company. And obviously anybody who uses fuel needs tires. So by default, the tire business was introduced by my father in 1965.
Okay.
And typical, mainly B2B business. And the journey continued, and in 1997 we were given a distributorship for Pirelli tires, which are very known globally for absolute premium high performance tires. And with it came the requirement to open stores across Kenya. So we opened our first branch in Nairobi. And Pirelli was very much instrumental in pressuring us to open retail stores to serve the needs of our customers, better serve the needs of customers directly than through third-party operators.
Right.
So this brought us into the retail space. In the around 2005, we realized that the business of selling tires alone was not going to be economically justifying opening retail stores. So we had to understand our customer needs and expectations and to expand our services beyond just tires. And what we basically said today is preventive maintenance about your vehicles. Things that naturally wear out if you drive your car: tires, batteries, lubrication, brakes, service, and so on. So that was the expansion, and fortunately in 2014 we attracted the interest of a large private equity group, Actis, who brought substantial capital and corporate governance to allow us to expand to where we are today. And today we operate 82 Auto Express stores in 5 countries of East and Central Africa.
Good
so
Lord.
It's been a wonderful journey so far.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Now, of course, you know, you have, like you said, 82 branches, right? Now, the question is, what are some of the strategic decisions, innovations that have actually fueled this much of a growth, you know, apart from the investment as well?
So we saw a gap in the market where generally a customer buys his car, and as you know, generally in our markets, very few customers actually buy a brand new car from the showroom. So fortunately for us, in the real world, in the Western world, what you call when you buy a brand new car, you probably tie to the franchisee for a 3 to 5 year service plan in loyalty.
Yeah.
Whereas here, for 90% plus, buy a car with almost zero warranty. Once you pay the money and get the keys, you need to look after a solution provider.
Yes.
And it took us a while to understand what the customer needs were. But we quickly adapted and came up with what would be the preventive maintenance import to the customer, and we focus on 5 or 6 key items that we are good at doing and continue to excel at doing, and which meet about 70% of our customer vehicle needs.
Okay.
In real terms, I would call it we strive to be the most trusted vehicle doctor for the consumer.
Yeah, I think that is the best way of putting it. You know, because I think there was this we knew Auto Express as suppliers of things that we need for the car, but taking it to the service sector was completely something that we never saw coming. And I think I've been here from the 80s, so definitely that's a journey that I have seen as well. And now, of course, we will be back shortly, and remember, you can actually enjoy this interview by watching us live on radio44.co.ke. We will be back with Mr. Shah right after this.
Remember the feeling
Episode 2 of the Superbrands Leadership Legends, and the legend we have in the studio today is Mr. Sandeep Shah, the Managing Director of Auto Express. Of course, we just spoke about the journey, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, one thing that we've been having conversations about is the whole customer experience, and you have mastered that. As you've put it, you definitely do know that customer experience is vital. Now, what strategies have you implemented at Auto Express to ensure amazing customer care, customer service, and how do you build the loyalty?
Well, I wouldn't say we mastered it. We are on the way to becoming better every day.
Okay.
So to understand, first of all, we understand that going to a garage to service your car is not something somebody dreams about at night and excited about doing the next day.
Yes.
We're in the grudge purchase business.
Yes.
It's generally a painful experience for customers to take the cars for various. It's expensive, time consuming.
Yeah.
So there are many things we do. One of the things is to make sure our staff are well trained, product and service wise. So customers have confidence when talking to our staff. Locations are conveniently placed. Accessibility is key. Plenty and free parking. Majority of our branch managers are now women, because to cater for women motorists who feel very comfortable talking to women managers.
Excellent.
Clean washrooms is a point that cannot be underscored.
Yes.
To make sure that every branch has absolutely spotless washrooms for customers to use. To make sure that turnaround time efficiency and process and systems to make sure the wait time for customers is minimized. So, and the process itself is driven so that the typical customer is in and out within 30 minutes to an hour, rather than booking and spending the whole day at the other formal garages.
Yes.
So we continue to evolve in this space to make life easier and friendlier for customers. We are already piloting experiments at a couple of branches about pickup and drop-off services.
Okay.
So to continue to evolve, to understand our customer expectations and needs, and to continue improving this journey. And finally, whatever we do, we have to deliver it at fair value. Kenyan consumer is superbly intelligent,
Yes.
understands value,
Yeah.
and if you can do that, then that's your key to success.
I was just, as we were having this conversation right now, I was just remembering there was a day we went to the branch right here on Mufiki Road. One of my colleagues figured she had a problem with the car. We walked in and your team immediately said, sure, we'll check it out. We checked it out and turns out there was no problem. And the smile he had on his face, and he said, don't worry about it. It's okay. It's all right. We apologize for wasting his time, but he was like, it's okay. Don't worry. Everything is good. And I think you're absolutely right. You have, I'm not going to say mastered it, but you have understood it.
So, when I talked about the car doctor model,
Yes.
it is a patient-doctor trust.
Yes.
The key focus here is integrity. The patient or the customer should feel safe with us.
Indeed.
And if that we can deliver, instead of trying to oversell things or instead of trying to sell things that you don't need,
Yes.
which is a short-term solution, because we're here for the long journey. We've been here for 66 years and we intend to be here for many more.
So it's all more about the customer retention and loyalty.
Absolutely. The trust, the faith and the trust, that is key to our success.
Excellent. We'll be back right after this. It is 24 minutes to 9 a.m. and we do have the MD of Auto Express, Mr. Sandeep Shah, on episode 2 of the Superbrands and Radio 44 Leadership Legends. We're talking about the key to staying relevant in business. Now, of course, we've been enjoying conversations off air as well, but now let's move forward. Can you share an example of a risk that you've taken in your career that has paid off, and what exactly motivated you to go ahead and take that leap?
Well, it's not a particular risk. Risk is the second name of our business. The main risk we've taken is sometimes, rather than overanalyze situations and potential markets, we've gone with gut feel and opened branches in places which didn't seem logical at the point. So back in 2008, we opened a branch in Malindi. Recently, we did one in Kilifi. We go into places in Eldoret to shop on instinct sometimes, just visiting, seeing an opportunity, committing very quickly. But fortunately in Kenya, where there's a growing population, growing GDP, so sometimes even if we made a mistake, we're probably about a year or two early for the market.
Okay.
But eventually it grows into something successful. And you have to be adventurous. Going to different countries, going into Rwanda, Uganda, Tanzania. So Tanzania experience has been pretty good so far, where most Kenyan companies have horror stories about operating in Tanzania.
Yes.
So we operate, like you said, you operate straightforward, integrity, and generally we have a very strong local workforce in every territory we operate in. And that's very well.
That's the secret.
Yeah.
I think you're the first individual I've met who's literally gone ahead and said, we stick to our gut feelings, where we're not the guys who are going to overanalyze things, which is actually pretty good. It's nice. It's adventurous. Now, speaking of the number of branches you have and everything, how do you measure success? For yourself and of course for Auto Xpress as a company.
For Auto Xpress, the biggest satisfaction comes that whenever I'm in a social setting or outside setting and I introduce myself, what do you do? And I said, I'm with Auto Xpress. And 9 times out of 10, the other person responds, oh, I'm a customer of yours. And then they'll carry on the conversation about how happy they are at a particular branch and how they're served so well. So this gives the greatest satisfaction of saying that we have created and continue to create a business that delivers excellent customer satisfaction. And the customers jump to our defenses. They almost talk better about our own business than we could. And this could not have been possible without the support and dedication by the excellent staff we have. We are so fortunate and blessed by the excellent management and the key service staff we have in our organization.
Beautiful. I keep saying this to people, that you may have your sales team in a company. However, I think your greatest sales people will always be the staff who are not in the marketing or sales department, and also your customers, because these are people who would go out there and say, oh, I work at Auto Xpress, I absolutely love it, they treat me well. Same thing from clients. So perfect. This is very informative as well.
And from a personal point, when we started this journey and continue this, we never had ever seen where we would have reached. This is beyond our wildest expectations. We moved from Kisumu to Nairobi only 26 years ago. That seemed like a big step, a different country.
Yes. 5
countries, 80 plus branches, 1,200 associates working, and continue to grow. So it's been a wonderful ride, and it continues to be a wonderful ride. Nobody planned this out. Nobody knows where it's ending up, but there is a continuous drive. And there's still curiosity, there's still hunger and appetite and pleasure in doing. This is our life. It's not a job. It's not a business. This is life for us.
As long as you have that, of course, that becomes your baby. We'll be back right after this. Playing you nothing but the hits on Radio 34, your music, your life. Episode 2 of the Superbrands Leadership Legends with Mr. Sandeep Shah, the MD of Auto Xpress. And I want to ask you this, all right? In your opinion, what is the most important quality that a leader of a business, a CEO, an MD must possess in today's business climate?
First of all, in any business, you need to be absolutely agile and you need to be adaptable to the changing environment of the business. You can't be fixated on one way of doing things. So that has actually been one of our key successes to growth. The other way I would put it is what we call listening to the sound of the river. You must have, that's why I say you have one mouth and 2 ears. You need to listen more than you speak, and to understand what your consumers are telling you, what the market's telling you. And how much ever you listen, more important is to listen to your staff. Because in the last few years, while we've been fixated with obsession with excellent customer service, we can't deliver this directly without the effort of our staff. So it's very important, and the next journey for us internally, while the customer satisfaction journey continues, but we realized the emphasis on the next journey is to improve understanding of our staff, their needs, wants, training needs, and to develop our staff to be the best in the industry. And that is where all the energy and investments are now going. Because we would not be able to do this without the correct staff, training, and people in place.
That's absolutely brilliant, and yes, it's something that everyone should actually follow.
And it takes grit to run a business successfully, profitably for so long.
Yeah.
And in good times, all business survive. But sometimes leadership qualities stand out in times of uncertainty and difficulty. And COVID was an excellent example. We faced uncertain times, unprecedented times, things we'd never gone through. And to be able to hold a company together, to meet all our obligations, to keep all our staff together, that was a wonderful achievement for us. And it gives me great satisfaction that crisis is a time when everybody comes together, and this is when you know your values and to be able to look after each other.
Excellent. Now, of course, like you just mentioned, COVID was one of the biggest hurdles. Now, can you call that the toughest time, or would it be something else?
It was one tough episode in many.
Okay.
When you operate in a geography like ours,
yes,
we face hurdles. We are in a continuous circus of obstacles. So if you take the last 12 months, there was the exchange rate, most of our goods are imported.
Yes.
There's uncertain exchange rates.
Yes.
Financial crisis doesn't help. Political protest or whatever does disrupt business now and then. We are a maturing democracy.
Indeed.
And we have different geographies. So there's never a smooth moment in life, okay?
Yes.
But this is what strengthens you, what defines your character. And like you say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Makes you stronger. Very accurate. However, which one would be the toughest challenge, and how did you beat that?
I guess when you're slapped with various uncertainty, because here we don't have a consistency in policy amongst government taxation, and so we have had a very long journey. So I would, what seemed tough 20 years ago, today in hindsight seems a relatively easy problem, but at the time you thought this is probably going to kill your business.
Right.
The tax authorities in the geographies are not very transparent, are very aggressive, they're not business friendly, they're almost extortionist. So we face that all the time. Other thing we face is very unfair market. There's a grey market, smuggled goods. So for compliant companies,
yes,
it's very difficult to stay the course if you want to stay by ethos and do everything by the book.
Yes.
And in a market where the majority don't. So that's a constant challenge as well for our businesses.
So I completely agree with you, because the fact remains this. Times change, and what you think was toughest challenge may not actually be the toughest challenge the next year.
And there'll be some more coming through. And we are ready to face them as they come.
I love that. We'll be back right after this track. Episode 2 of the Superbrands Leadership Legends with Mr. Sandeep Shah of Auto Xpress. Now, we as Radio 44 are also Superbrand, and you're a Superbrand as well. And how important is being awarded the Superbrand status to you and your brand?
Extremely important, because it recognizes our commitment to quality and service, and to the general market. To be in a very short time, Auto Xpress rebranding was only done in 2008 in Kenya, so it's only 16 years old. And within 16 years to be recognized as the number one in the automotive space is fantastic. And in the general public, it kind of recognizes what we have done so far and continue to do so far.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, I think we've had this conversation. Here's the thing. There are a lot of people out there, who are doing the regular 9-to-5s, and a lot of people are now, especially after COVID, they're thinking of becoming entrepreneurs, starting their own businesses. What do you think is the most important thing a business person should have in terms of success or the drive to success?
Entrepreneurship, especially for new entrepreneurs, can be a very difficult journey. And yes, you need resilience, absolute resilience. There are going to be many obstacles along a long journey. Key for me is integrity. Integrity with all your interactions, whether it's your supplier, your customer, your staff. That's key. Never, ever sacrifice your moral compass for make a little bit more money or have a shortcut in your life. It doesn't go a long way.
I think that's the wisest thing I've heard all day, especially in a day and age where people are just worried more about how much they're saving or how much they're making. You're actually worried more about your moral compass.
Yes, absolutely. That is not negotiable.
Excellent. Mr. Sandeep Shah, it's an absolute pleasure. And I got to say, this was a very informative and very inspirational chat that we just had. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you to you, and thank you to all our listeners and viewers. Pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.